Rain tapped softly against the office windows, turning the city lights into blurred streaks of gold and silver. It had been 6 months since Adam's divorce, and yet every quiet moment still carried echoes of what he had lost and what he had gained. His son. Everything he did now was for him. Adam adjusted his tie as he stood alone in the conference room, staring at the presentation slides he had already memorized. Numbers, projections, strategies, it was all easy. Life, on the other hand, wasn't. Still working late? Her voice cut through the silence like a whisper wrapped in silk. Adam turned. There she was, Elena Voss, the billionaire CEO. Powerful, untouchable, the kind of woman people feared more than they admired. Her heels clicked slowly against the marble floor as she stepped inside, her sharp eyes studying him like she already knew everything. "Just finishing up," Adam replied calmly. She walked closer, stopping just a step away, closer than a boss ever should. "You always stay late," she said, "even when you don't have to." Adam gave a faint smile. "Some of us don't have much to go back to." Her expression flickered for just a second. Something softer, something human. "I heard about your divorce," she said quietly. He nodded once. "Yeah. And yet, you didn't fall apart." Adam looked at her then, really looked. "I don't have that luxury. My son needs me." For a moment, silence filled the room. Heavy, meaningful. Elena turned away, walking toward the window. The city stretched endlessly before her, but her reflection in the glass looked lonely. "Do you know what it's like," she said slowly, "to have everything and still feel like you have nothing?" Adam didn't answer right away. Then softly, "Yeah, Ido." She turned back to him, her eyes sharper now, but also searching. "You're different," she said. "I'm just tired," he replied. A faint smirk touched her lips. "No. You're not afraid of me."
Adam şuruk.
"Should I be?" She stepped closer again. This time, there was no distance left between them. The air changed. "Most people want something from me," Elena said. "Money, power, status." "I don't," Adam said simply. "I know." And then, she leaned in slightly, her voice dropping to a whisper that barely existed. "Be my husband." The words hung in the air like a lightning strike.
Adam froze.
For a second, he thought he misheard her. "What?" he said under his breath. Her gaze didn't waver. "Marry me."
No hesitaschen. No emotion.
Just pure, controlled intensity. Adam let out a quiet, disbelieving laugh. "That's not funny. I'm not joking." The room felt smaller now, tighter, like the walls were closing in. "Why me?" he asked. "Because you don't need me." "That's exactly why I shouldn't say yes." A flicker of something dangerous crossed her eyes. "It would be an arrangement," she continued. "You get security for your son, a future, stability." Adam's jaw tightened. "And you?" he asked. Her voice dropped again. "I get someone real." Silence. Heavy. Complicated. Adam ran a hand through his hair, turning away as he tried to process what was happening. A billionaire CEO, his boss, was asking him to marry her like it was a business deal. It didn't make sense. None of it did. Finally, he looked back at her. "You don't want a husband," he said quietly. "You want control." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "And you don't want a wife," he continued. "You want an escape." That hit. He saw it in her face, the smallest crack in her perfect armor. For the first time, Elena Voss didn't look powerful. She looked exposed. Adam stepped back, creating distance between them. "My answer is no." The word landed harder than anything else in the room. Her expression went still, completely unreadable. "No?" she repeated softly. I won't marry someone who sees me as a solution, he said. I've already lived a life where love felt like a contract. I'm not doing that again. The tension snapped. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then, Elena let out a slow breath, her composure slipping just enough to reveal something deeper beneath. Everyone says yes to me, she said. Adam gave a small, tired smile. Then maybe it's time someone didn't. Another silence. But this one felt different. Not empty, charged, because something had changed. Not just in her, but in both of them. As Adam walked toward the door, Elena's voice stopped him one last time. This isn't over. He paused, but didn't turn around. I know, he said, and then he left. Behind him, the most powerful woman in the city stood alone, for the first time, not in control of the situation, but thinking about the one man who refused her, and somehow, that made her want him even more. The next morning didn't feel normal. Adam knew it the moment he stepped into the office. Conversations stopped. Eyes followed him. Whispers spread like wildfire. He didn't need to ask why. No one said no to Elena Voss. And yet he had. Adam walked past the glass walls of the executive floor, keeping his expression calm, unreadable. Inside, his thoughts were anything but steady. Had he just ruined his career? Probably. But as he thought of his son's smile that morning, messy hair, sleepy eyes, clutching his hand before school, Adam felt something stronger than fear. Clarity. He had made the right choice. Mr. Adam. He stopped. Her assistant stood in front of him, perfectly composed as always. Ms. Voss would like to see you. Of course she would.
Adam ehalet kuyutli.
Now? She's cleared her entire schedule. That wasn't a good sign. The elevator ride to the top floor felt longer than usual. Each second dragged. Each breath felt heavier. When the doors finally opened, Adam stepped into silence, the kind that only existed in places where power lived. Her office doors were already open. She was waiting. Elena Voss stood by the window again, just like last night. But today, something was different. Colder, sharper, more dangerous. You're late, she said without turning. I wasn't given a time. A pause. Then she turned slowly. Her eyes locked onto his, and this time there was no softness.
No curiosity.
Just control. You embarrassed me, she said. Adam frowned slightly. By answering honestly? By forgetting your place. There it was. The reminder. Boss. Employee. Power. Subordinate. Adam stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. You asked me to marry you. Not exactly a normal workplace conversation. Her jaw tightened. For a moment it looked like she might snap, but instead, she smiled. Cold, calculated smile. Let's correct something, she said, walking toward her desk. You seem to think you had a choice. Adam's eyes narrowed. I always have a choice. Do you? She replied smoothly. Single father. One income. No safety net. Each word landed like a test. Not an attack. A test. Adam didn't flinch. My life isn't perfect, he said. But it's mine. She stopped in front of him again, closer this time, but not the same closeness as before. This wasn't personal. This was strategy. You turned down a future most people would kill for, she said. Do you know how irrational that is? Adam met her gaze without hesitation. Do you know how empty it must be, if that's how you see it? That got to her. He saw it. Just for a second. Her composure cracked again. But this time she recovered faster. Fine, she said coolly. Let's pretend last night didn't happen. Adam raised an eyebrow. Can we? We will. A beat. You'll continue working here, she added, as if nothing changed. And if I don't? Her eyes locked onto his, sharp and unyielding. Then you walk away from everything you've built here. Silence. The weight of the choice hung between them. Adam thought about it. His job. His stability. His son's future. And then, he nodded slowly. I'll stay, he said. But not because I'm afraid of losing this job. Elena tilted her head slightly. Then why? Because I don't run from complicated things. Something about that answer lingered in the air. Unexpected. Unsettling. For both of them. Later that evening, Adam sat on the small couch in his apartment, his son asleep beside him, a cartoon still playing softly on the TV. The world here was simple, warm, real, not like the cold, calculated world Elena lived in. Adam looked down at his son, brushing a hand gently through his hair. I'm trying, buddy, he whispered. I really am. His phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number. He frowned, then opened it. You think this ends with a no? Adam's jaw tightened. Another message came immediately after. You said I want control. A pause. Then, maybe you're right. And finally, but I've never wanted anything the way I want you to say yes. Adam stared at the screen. His heart didn't race. It didn't soften. It didn't break. It just understood. This wasn't over. Not even close. Across the city, in a penthouse surrounded by glass and silence, Elena Voss stood alone again. Her phone still in her hand, her reflection staring back at her like a stranger. For the first time in years, she wasn't thinking about business, or power, or control. She was thinking about him, the one man who refused her, the one man who saw through her, and the one man she couldn't seem to let go, no matter how hard she tried.